Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. One of the worst things any government can do is to destroy the future of the young people. And yet that is what the SNP are deliberately setting out to do. After a teachers' strike earlier this year, they arranged and agreed a pay rise. That's going to be costing a lot of money. Indeed, the education system is already sort of underfunded as it is. But in order to pay these teachers the money that they want and they requested, and Humza Yousaf wanted to end that strike, they agreed to pay them what will amount to £155 million. And where are they finding it? Well, they're taking it from the already cash-strapped education budget and realigning it not from infrastructure purposes or materials or books, and handing it straight over in terms of salaries. This, of course, will utterly destroy a lot of schools. It will destroy the education opportunities for pupils because there's just not the funding there to give them the education they deserve. Because the teachers are having all these resources that are, being turned into their salaries rather than being resources that the school can use. And bad enough that this is, and it will only make matters worse in schools, raising stress levels and whatever. And so the teachers will be back to their striking again, but this time for conditions rather than pay, although they'll probably put more pay on top of it anyway. So it becomes a vicious cycle. But on top of that, having seen the teachers win their case and getting their huge pay rise, the ancillary staff, the teaching assistants, the janitors, the cleaning staff, kitchens, all that sort of thing, they've all voted to go on strike action as well because they want some of that pie, which means even more money coming out of now the tiny education budget. Children are having their lives utterly destroyed by this government. And yet, strangely, as we've reported in the last video, they can find nearly £15 million to spunk away on pleasurable little things for themselves. First-class lounges and buying books for people. That sort of thing. Can't educate a child, but hey, you can quaff champagne at 35,000 feet. So that's okay then. We'll take a look at these two stories. They are linked. I'm not going to do a video for each of them. We'll have a look at one, then we'll quickly flick to the other one. And we'll link them too. But it just goes to show where the priorities for this party are. Here goes. So, SNP's drastic slash to teaching budget as 155 million is feared to hit the already strained workforce. Education Minister Jenny Gilruth has been told to spell out exactly how the strike settlement will impact the education budget. So, of course, the teachers went on strike. They won their claim. And it's costing 155 million. And so to obviously offset this payment, they have to take it from somewhere. So they're taking it from within the education budget, but from with other areas within that budget to put across onto the salaries side of the ledger. So the SNP is set to take £155 million of funding from the education budget in order to fund the teacher pay settlement, agreed after a series of strikes earlier this year. Ministers have been told to spell out how this will hit education standards, with fears it will only contribute to the strain that led to the strike in the first place. And concern comes from a recent survey revealed 2 in 3 teachers have used their own money to buy classroom supplies or help students. This is the problem you're getting these kids in school. They're desperate to learn. They absolutely need to learn if they're going to have any future whatsoever. And the schools are so stripped of resources, books, equipment for science labs. I mean, everything you can think of that a school needs. They literally can't afford it. Teachers are going out and buying their own pack of chalks, for God's sake, or their own marker pens. It's because the SNP have wasted untold millions upon millions of pounds on sheer and utter shite. But that's important to them. The future of children isn't. It's quite clear to see. Education Secretary Jenny Gilruth confirmed that no extra money was allocated for the teachers' pay deal in the 23-24 budget, and later confirmed that the education budget will be used to round up what the Scottish Government pays. Scottish Conservative shadow education spokesman Liam Kerr told the Scottish Express after the first teachers' strike in 40 years, ministers are still ignoring the issues raised by teachers and are now set to slash £155 million from elsewhere in the education budget to fund the pay settlement. This, he said, will have a devastating impact on the experience of Scottish pupils who were already endured so much during the pandemic. Scotland used to have an absolutely world-class education system, one of the best in the world. Now, it's not even third world. Indeed, it's so bad that Scotland does not even put its results through. So, to see it on the international tables, they're so embarrassed about how low they have fallen that you don't even see where they are on international tables anymore, because they're ashamed of it. They're absolutely ashamed of what they have done. Ministers have refuted claims that the education will be cut, however. Miss Gilruth said in a written answer, the Scottish Government will provide a total of £205 million in 23-24 to help meet the cost of the final March 23 pay deal, £50 million of which is included in the local government finance settlement. But she's not denying at all that it's coming out of education. She's not saying where it's coming from. This led to further questions over the remaining £155 million needed for the expense. And in a subsequent response, Ms Gilruth said the remaining costs for the 23-24 financial year will be met from the Education and Skills Portfolio budget. So what she's saying is the education and skills. She's making an admixture of the two. So it looks like it's not just education, but it is just education. She says it itself, the education budget. So she's been caught lying, absolutely lying her teeth off. But they won't tell anyone where those cuts are coming from directly, of course, because that would be too embarrassing. They are destroying pupils' lives, basically in order to spin it as though they're doing something good. Now, of course, this won't actually help. They've got the teacher strike. That's out of the way. The teachers are gone. Yoo-hoo, we've got our money. Thank you very much. And now we're going to take a look at this piece. Boom. Now, Scottish schools face mass closures as staff vote to strike again over a pay deal forced by the SNP budget cuts. Because, of course, you're losing the £155 million from the education budget. A lot of that, of course, will be paying for these people. And these people going, we want our pay rise as well. And if you're cutting that budget, are we getting anything? Here goes. So as more school staff in 10 council areas vote for strikes in the new academic year, critics say the ballot result should be a serious kick up the behind for the Scottish Government. And again, I'm not going to go into this too deeply, but it's basically here. Janitors, cleaners, caterers, classroom assistants and admin staff will take targeted industrial action. The council affected include Glasgow, Dundee and Fife, as well as Argyll and Bute, Clackmannanshire, East Dunbartonshire, East Renfrewshire, Inverclyde, Orkney and the Western Isles. And basically what you've got is everyone who works in the school who's not a teacher, because the teachers got their pay rise, they want a pay rise too. They want one same as the teachers. And they're afraid that this reduced budget and the education budget, this £155 million, will mean that there isn't enough money to give them a pay rise. And so they're going, no, we want that pay rise. Now, the only way you're going to get this now, if it's going to come out further from the education budget, is that they've got to put taxes up. You're already the highest taxed nation in Britain, and it's about to get even worse. And they've already got a £1 billion black hole, and now they've got another 200 million adding on top. They haven't got a clue how to run a country. They haven't got a clue how to run a whelk stall. But what do you expect? You've got people who can't leading a party of morons and misfits, people who don't understand basic maths, don't understand the issues, and seem to think that spin and how things appear and optics are more important than people's lives, and specifically more important than young people's lives, whose lives will be permanently blighted by these decisions. There will be mass school closures all over the place. They basically want an extra £1 an hour. They want they want it up basically £1 an hour, but the cumulative effect of having all these people is a huge cost, further than the 155 million about to come out of the education budget. could be as much as another 100 million. How are they going to afford it? They can't afford what they've got. So it's taxes up time. And of course, as you put the taxes up, people with money leave. And so you actually get a reduced tax take. I'm not, I say it before, but it's almost as though the SNP haven't got a clue what they're doing. What do you think? What do you think? Anyway, I shall round off there. I shall come up. But it's just interesting that these two things run parallel and side by side. And one begats the other. And the trouble is that both of them are damaging to the future of children. But anyway, coming up. And it's always funny how they refuse to say where the money is coming from. Oh, well, it's not coming out of that. It's not coming out of that. You know full well it is. She's lying. They lie. They lie and they lie and they lie. That's all they can do. Because they daren't tell the truth. They've screwed it up so badly that it is probably beyond all repair. I think it is absolutely to the point where the education system in Scotland needs to be completely taken down to the grassroots and started from scratch, going up. The only trouble is you're going to have an entire school generation utterly destroyed, bereft of a full education, bereft of any chance because of this SNP government and what it's done over the past 16 years. This isn't Westminster. This isn't England. This is purely the SNP and mostly Nicola Sturgeon. It's disgusting what they're doing, and to remove these opportunities and this one chance, the one chance you have of an education as a child, when your brain is ready to soak information in, because as you get older it gets harder and harder, as you know. So you've got these little mental sponges ready to take it all in, and there's no one there with the facilities to do it. It's an entire generation cast onto the scrap heap because of spin, of optics and of politics. They should hang their heads in shame, but I bet they bloody well won't. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and for heaven's sake, if you have the opportunity of homeschooling your kids, do so, because you're much likely to make a much better job of it than letting this bunch of clowns do it. Bye.